There's no going. Like, I already hit the button. Button.
And Lars was just like this at the camera.
Yes. Oh my gosh. Oh, I have to get my dentist card on. Hold on. I'll be right back. Talk amongst yourself.
Renee, you're killing me, Smalls. You're killing me. Okay, so this is damn, I'm blanking on the name of my own show. This is
One Hit Wonderful, which was named by the Big D himself.
Yes,
Lars,
which is named by Dennis Stardine.
Big D.
Yes. So this show is One Hit Wonderful, where myself and that lady right there, Renee Yaworsky, we sit down with a favorite musician of ours, a favorite poet of ours, and we dissect one of their pieces, and we go in depth on their influences, how they got steered into the certain types of music and poetry that they made their niche in. And this week, ladies and germs, we have Swedish Elvis. We have Mr. El Caminos. We have the King of Alpharetta. 3 people, you ask? Well, it ain't 3 people. It is 1 person, and Renee stitches over my intro, which is good. We have the one, the only. Drum roll, please. Lars Nagel. I was the Dennis Stardine.
Dennis Stardine. Well, there's Dennis Tardon here.
Yes.
And I just got off the phone with Dennis, and Dennis sends his love to everybody. He said we should be going deep, and he specifically sent his love to you, Jonathan, and to you, Rory, because Rory painted an actual portrait of him that he wants to unveil live on air with Rory at some point. Okay. And then Lars, because he does have a crush on you, Lars. And this is just something we're going to have to address as a production company, you know. We're going to have to address this big elephant in the room, the big D in the room.
Yeah. I think it's a wonderful thing, you know.
We'll see about that.
We'll see. It's a wonderful thing. I just want to go on the record. If anyone doesn't get the overtones, no, Dennis Tardon does not actually have a crush on Lars Nagel, but it's just fun. It's for fun.
It's funny in your mind.
What?
I'm sorry. I've really fucked this up. Now you're gonna storm.
No, you got fucked up nothing.
Listen, Lars is gonna storm.
It's just a funny.
I'm turning my amp off, and I'm leaving.
You gotta do the Who.
Lars
You gotta do like the Who and start like
now.
trashing shit. You gotta trash shit. I can't believe it.
It's just funny. It's just funny to think about Dennis seeing that picture of Lars that I used when he was in Switzerland for the promo, and he just swoons over that.
Yeah, that's what it was. I showed him the picture. I showed him. You know which picture I showed
long
Dennis?
Hair.
That one, no, but the other one, the one where he looks like the 80s show Full House. It's the one where the Full House guy. That's the one that got him
John Stamos. Yes.
John Stamos. It was the John Stamos Lars Nagel that got Dennis over the moon. He was like, oh my.
Hey, Renee, I mean, you know, I just turned 50, so I mean, anybody who has a crush on me is very welcome. I mean, it's,
well, you have Heidi. Unless.
But we all want crushes,
maybe at this
right?
point after I said that. Hello.
No, that's the thing. It's good to have crushes. Everybody likes having. No, you're right. I mean, it's a nice thing when people have crushes on you. How do you feel when people have crushes on you, Lars? How does that feel?
I mean, it's such a rare.
No,
gig,
don't.
You know what I mean? Well, you never know, really, though, because no one ever tells you. So, you know. Blessings to Tardon.
How can I have the chutzpah? He had the chutzpah to come forward.
How can I have make someone have
in private? He told me in private.
How can I make someone have a crush on me without me showing up with a briefcase with $500,000 in it?
That's not a crush. That's exploitation.
What, Renee?
What?
I said that's not a crush; it's exploitation. If they want you for
that's
your
fair.
money.
I'm just
What did
waiting
Lars
for.
say?
I'm just waiting for someone to either really have low self-esteem and take a chance on me, or for someone to really lower their standards.
Put pants on.
I do have pants on, thank you.
All right, wait.
This
Which
show's for the birds already.
No, this is the best show that I've ever even seen. This is hilarious. By the way, everyone asks me this off air, and I just want to get it clear. This guy in the corner with the Hunter S. Thompson and McCarthy looking thing, that's Dennis Tardon.
That is
in
Dennis
the Army.
at 22 or 23?
Yes, 22 in the Army. And he does look like
71.
Hunter S. Thompson. But I get asked that question every single day, and I never explain it. Yes, that's a young Dennis Tardon. And I made this art by myself. I just made the decision. I like it. So it's great. So he's here with us.
I'm going to pull you guys closer.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so if anyone has a crush on that, and a lot of girls do have crushes on that picture of Dennis. Not on Dennis, but on the picture of Dennis.
If I lost 100 pounds, I'd look just like that.
Renee, that makes perfect
100
sense.
pounds, it'd be a
Because,
skeleton.
well,
What?
Here's how I see it.
Oh gosh.
In that picture from Switzerland, I think I was 24. So what we have here is the 22-year-old Tardon having a crush on the 24-year-old Nagel.
Oh God.
This is turning into a Howard Stern episode.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is.
Like I'm gonna
So
be robbed
before-
right now.
Before it jumps completely off the rails.
Because wait,
get-
like, I'll tell you why I said that. Wait, before I just need to get this clear. Is that
Oh,
Paul
boy.
McCartney.
It's Renee's world, and we're just living in it.
I'm sorry, but Paul McCartney went on the Stern show, and Stern was like, "Is it true that John Lennon had a crush on you?" And that was actually like how it went. Was like John Lennon's like his crush on.
Yes.
So that's what I feel like. That's why I said Howard Stern. Anyways, we are here to talk about Lars Nagel, and this is the third time being featured this week because we all
Third
can't
day
get
in a
enough
row.
people. That's a hat trick. That's
Yes.
a hat trick. And
Swedish hat trick. Yes.
I'm on tour.
so which song are we playing first?
All
Then we're gonna go
photographs.
deep. Oh yeah, that's Dennis's favorite too.
That's the one
Very
we're
powerful
going to
song.
discuss, and then he's got a couple more in the can after the interview portion of this wraps up. So Lars, also known as Swedish Elvis, also known as what was it, Mr. El Camino's, hit it.
Ex Camino.
Ex Camino.
Ditch digger.
He was an ex ditch digger.
Mm-hmm. That's right.
He's
Just
been in
about
a thousand.
everything.
He's been in 1,000 different bands, and I love it.
Do you have a favorite? Do you want to just say that right now?
Well,
on air?
save that for later. Okay. I
so
didn't
sorry.
mean to sound like Dennis right there. I'm sorry.
Yeah, you're channeling I feel you're channeling your inner Dennis, and I want to encourage that. That's fantastic. I love it.
Hey, Renee.
I've seen the cat fights you and Dennis have had. I don't know if
You
I want to
haven't
go
seen nothing
there.
yet. Okay, wait. Lars was saying something, and I want to hear what he said. That's
Yes.
If you like, I could start with a more up-tempo one, like Take It or Leave It, and then we can do old photographs, a little bit later.
We'd like to have old photographs be front and center. You know what I mean?
That's it. I'm leaving.
Oh, damn it. No, you picked
All
the
right.
first
I
we
see
revealed
how
that
this
Dennis
is.
did not
I
have a
see
crush on him, and now we revealed that we're going to feature old photographs.
Oh, good
Damn it.
grief.
We lost the Nagel. We've lost the
Nagel. Nagel, we hardly knew ye. Anyway.
Hardly. He said hardly.
You know, the judge is going to slam us so hard on this show. I don't even
Yeah,
want the judge
that's
to
why I'm
come on.
leaving a few minutes early and just crawling in
I'm
the
just
closet
leaving.
over here and just holding myself up.
I'm going to the bathroom when this is over, and y'all can't find me.
Okay.
I see him making notes in the green room right now. He literally just made a note. Damn it.
Okay. Before this becomes too much of a disaster, let's do this.
Lars
Laws,
Nagel,
if you
take
are
it away.
ready, lay old photographs on us, please. And Renee, mute before he plays.
You guys feel free to have your split screens on. I like an audience in front of me.
Oh, okay.
I mean, unless you guys don't want it, but
No,
No, we're
that's
fine
cool.
with it. We're fine with it.
okay. Should we go for it?
Yeah, man. Go for it.
Photographs.
Yes,
Here
sir.
it is. 747 touching down. Long way from Stockholm to LA town. Long way for a boy to go. Long way when you don't know. In the backseat of a rental car, sun was setting on Hollywood Boulevard. 1976, walking down Main Street, USA. You can no longer take me there. I've got old photographs and glasses of beer. The winds from the canyons blew down the coast of Malibu. Burger King, 7-lane freeways, and all-night TV shows. Elvis played the Forum that night, but Disneyland was out of sight. Taping songs off the radio in hotel rooms. I'm not in love, sister, golden hair and go all the way. I can feel that you are near. Old photographs and glasses of beer. These days you'll be glad to know I'm doing fine. It comes and goes, but your courage fuels me in my weakest time. So every now and again, it's nice to pretend that I can see us walking down Main Street, USA. I can hear you talking, drifting away. Da, 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 da. Da, 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 da.
That was incredible.
Thank you.
That oh my God, if any of you watching this have never heard that song, that is why it is mine and Renee's favorite and Dennis's favorite, because it is so raw, so powerful, but yet so wistful. And gosh, it's just, I can only dream of writing something so good as that. Like,
oh well, yeah, I mean,
God, I'm gonna recite a novel over this song. So to keep me from doing that, Lars, when did you write that song, and what mindset were you in when you wrote the song?
I wrote it. Let me see here. We recorded it right before the pandemic started. So that was early, excuse me, 2020. I wrote it in 2019. And yeah, you can still keep me on the split. I like it. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. It was a combination of things. My dad had passed away a couple of years earlier. So I sort of wanted to share the experience of him taking me to the States for the first time. It was just basically on a business. Well, it was a business trip, and we just came from. I guess we left for about 3 days. I mean, it was a long trip just to be gone for 3 days. But he brought me with him, and so I always remember that first experience in California in 1976. So basically, the song sort of just wrote itself. Once I recognized what I wanted it to be about. And Jonathan, I think you mentioned, you're the only one who's ever said this, but you talked about Crosby's, gosh, what's it called?
Helplessly Hoping.
Yeah. I mean, ever since for many years, it was one of my favorite, maybe my favorite CSN song. And
same here.
And I wanted, I don't know, for years and years, just something that sort of had that kind of feel. But I wrote the music. I just banged out the chords one night, and when we were living in Atlanta, and it was maybe midnight or 1, and I was about to go to bed, and I remember I wrote myself a note on this song. I recorded it to voice memo, and I wrote a note saying, don't scat out any words to this song until you know what it's going to be about.
Wow.
Because a lot of times I'll find the top line, like take it or leave it, or you will never change. And it's just very random. And I build stuff around it, or I write a song backwards or whatnot. But I felt that this one was a real special, I mean, for a number of reasons. It just had a special vibe about it. So I just wrote that note to myself. You don't write a single word until you know the theme of what you want this to be about. And as soon as I knew, it was the easiest thing in the world to write. I mean, it took a little while to work it out, but it came pretty fast.
Yeah. How long in your early life did you stay in Sweden before coming stateside?
I was born and raised. I moved to California in 1980. Let me think, 1987 or 1988. I think it was fall of '87. So I was 17.
Wow. And
previously, we have made many travels over here because my dad worked for SAS Scandinavian Airlines. So we were privileged in that sense that we were just able to fly around and to a very affordable cost.
Uh-huh. And you touched earlier on the photo that I used in the promo that was in Sweden in 1992. You've lived or been in a myriad of different places. Where all have you lived or been to?
Well, I mean, I don't know how many countries I've been to. That's a lot. But I've lived in Sweden, obviously, but I lived in Italy, and I lived in Spain, and I lived in Northern California, Southern California, and then Atlanta, GA.
How long have you been in Atlanta for?
Actually, I lived in, it's funny, I lived in Brunswick, Georgia for about a year as well, down by St. Simon's Island. I've been in Atlanta since 1990, and I started my first band in Atlanta in 1990. I guess it was 1992 or 3.
So that's a good transition to where I'm wanting to go with this. Your first band, which 92 was the Ditch Diggers.
Yeah.
How did that band come together?
Man, that is a good question. We were just basically young and had a lot of time on our hands, and we loved music. And a friend of mine was into, he was singing in other bands at the time, and I just picked up the guitar, and I didn't really have any thought to be playing in a band, but I sort of got pushed into it. You know, my friend's band broke up, and him and I just started playing together, and we had an acoustic guitar. I was always around a number of musicians, so it was sort of always around me, and you know, guys and girls that were playing out. Could have been punk rock, it could have been acoustic shows around Atlanta and whatnot. So I was sort of exposed to it from that level quite a bit. So once we started just to play acoustically, and we started writing songs immediately, and then I don't even know that we discussed it, quite honestly. We just assumed we were going to be in a band and we're going to write songs, and that was going to be that became the start of it in 1992/3.
So how long did the Ditch Diggers last?
It lasted until I'm never good with dates, but I would say 2001.
Oh wow.
We had a long run. We had a lot, you know, like most bands, you have different stages where you you know, you start out very, very slowly, just playing in your garage, and then you do your open mics and such, and then you start to get real shows, and now you're starting to become a band, and next thing you know, you have a bunch of songs, and then you want to record them, and you find yourself in the studio, you make a record, and now all of a sudden you start working shows on the road, and you have other people connected with you, and I'm not, you know, I'm not coming from a world to where we had some, I don't even know what to, you know, some driving and crying, the Black Crowes type success. We were a college circuit band that we had good audiences where we went. We had some good songs in the charts. We charted really well on college radio for a number of years.
Wow,
and we had
awesome.
some. It's funny. We always joke about this, but we had the #1 hit in of all places in Utah. Thank you, Utah. We never played Utah, but
he somehow won over the Mormons. I don't know how he did it.
Yeah, well, I mean, it was a 5-way win over, but we had a whatever they called them. I can't remember, radio promoter in New York. Once we hooked up with that company, and we had a couple of distribution companies, so we started going to other cities, and kids would come out having our shirts on, or they'd heard us on the radio and so forth. And that's when we discovered, and again, this is just college radio, and every now and then some minor regular play, but college air. But you discover the power at that time in '97, the power of radio. You know, my gosh, you're showing up, and there they are, and they want to hear that tune. It was almost like some weird fantasy that it shouldn't be happening, but there it is. So, you know, we worked very hard. We worked very hard, and I believe we could have kept it going after 2001. But you know, we played cowpunk, which is sort of a country rock, country punk thing. The Ramones meets it was a very '90s thing to say. The Ramones meets, you know, Hank Williams Sr. or meets Johnny Cash, or as Tom Shash says, Johnny Clash.
That's a hell of a band name, by the way.
Yeah, I mean, it was very hard driving.
Yes, we do.
It was hard driving country, but it didn't fit in the country music world. It didn't fit in the punk rock world. You know, we were too country for punk, and we were too punk rock for country, right? So cowpunk is sort of that common it's the common denominator for a lot of these bands, like Jason and the Scorchers, the Hickoids, the Sidewinders. I guess you could put Dash Riprock in there, the Johnnies out of Australia, Beast of Bourbon, and a bunch of these cool bands that we dug. And we also loved, of course, the Clash and the Ramones, the Sex Pistols, Stiff Little Fingers, Rocket from the Crypts, Husker Du's, a number of those bands. So, and as I think you're a fan of a band called Southern Culture and the Skids.
Yes.
So
very much so.
So we sort of just, pieced it together and, wrote our songs and did our shows and made our albums. And again, it was a lot of work, but it was, it was we could have taken it further, but it was a good run.
You tell a great story, and feel free to correct me, but I believe it was in your time in the Ditch Diggers where you were in the studio in Atlanta and you were wedged in between several major bands. Now, I believe that was in the Ditch Diggers. Correct me if I'm wrong, but tell us that story.
Well, it's been with a few different, I suppose, maybe another act as well. But if it's the when we made our second record in a place in a really nice studio in Atlanta called Tree Sound Studios.
Yeah, that's the story.
And that's where I met Cool Jimmy Z, who co-owned that place, who later opened up Zach Recordings in Atlanta. But us being on a punk rock budget, we were never gonna be recording in the A room as just a straight up contracted artist. So it was Christmas '98, and I was in Pittsburgh at the time visiting my girlfriend's family. Mm-hmm. And they called us and said, well, I think it was Matchbox 20 was working on what became their big hit record in there, or their second record. And I think, I can't remember. I mean, there's a number of people. I think it was Sheryl Crow. I can't remember. But it was definitely Matchbox 20. And at the time, and they said, well, these guys break for Christmas. So if you low budget dudes want to come in. So, of course, at a favorable rate. And not only that, but we were going to have the famed Southern producer, wonderful cat. His name is Rodney Mills. Mm. And he's a guy who cut Freebird for Skinner. You talk about history there. By the way, he would be fantastic to have on the show.
We need to get Rodney Mills on the show. That is now bucket list.
He will tell you stories.
I can find him.
Make fun of us in the process, and it'll be great. So and he did tons of Skinner stuff, Atlanta Rhythm Section. He did 38 Special, as well as he did many mainstream acts over the years, 80s, 90s bands all across the country. So we had him as an engineer. And John Nielsen, his assistant engineer, who's since passed, blessings. He is the I think he's Tim. I don't know Tim, but he's Tim Nielsen's cousin of Driving and Crying. So we had sort of a star-studded production team, and we went in there. We had never met Rodney before. We never met John Nielsen before, and we love him both dearly. And we cut 17 songs in one day in the A room.
Oh, wow.
That's intense. How do you even do that?
Listen, how
did you do that without killing each other?
Well, we did that too. We took the Johnny Ramone approach when they were doing their first record. We just blazed through it, and we thought 12 songs into it, and one day we thought, are we doing good? I mean, should we not be at song 15? Meanwhile, and this is no joke. Again, blessings. John Nielsen told me before Christmas, he was when I asked him, John, are we doing all right? We just only cut 12 songs today so far, and he said, well, I'll put it to you this way. I've been working on one verse for, it might have been I think it still was Matchbox 20. Could have been the Pumpkins, but he said I've been working on one verse with these guys for the last week. I spent a week on a verse. So he said, you guys cutting 12 tracks. He said, you're doing fine. Yes. And again, not to undermine the work that those bands did, because again, they sold millions of records and we didn't. So I don't know who's wrong or right. It's just a feel thing and type of thing. But that was the stories that came with Rodney and really meeting those people very early on. I think it really set. It was a roadmap. I didn't realize to me then. I realize it now. What a roadmap it was to be thrown into that environment that early. Not really knowing that much. I'm just barely hanging on to my instrument and we wrote these songs. It's our second record and we're trying to do this thing. And so being around that high concentration of talent and caliber, basically the number one thing you learn is to keep your mouth shut. You learn to just listen, because whatever they're going to say, usually it's something that you need to remember.
Right. Yeah.
So we learned. I mean, I still think back on the stuff that Rodney said back then, that today when I'm in the studio or working with a band or whatever, it sort of rings in your ears and you go, oh man, that's true. That's true. Right. So that was a wonderful experience.
I love that, because that's such a cool part of rock and roll culture too. And actually a lot of the arts, but I'll just focus in on rock and roll, is, earning your stripes, getting your hands dirty, sitting at the feet of the legends. And the people who don't do that tend not to really be as successful or as hallowed in the culture. I've noticed that that's really a thing, is that, when you're coming up, particularly as a teenager or whatever, you just gain so much more by being humble and being silent when you're in the presence of people like that. And so Lars, I think that's something that humility of yours and that wisdom of yours is something that really is the gel and the glue for a lot of people who know and love you. I mean, this whole community really, in a sense, is really knit together in part by our love for you. And it's because of that beautiful humility that you bring, So I just want to give a shout out to that.
Yes, and Lars, it is because of you that both I and Renee have gotten on KMH, because you steered Renee to it first, and then I became friends with Renee, and she said, "Oh, you got to join this group. It's called." I'm like, "What's it called?" It's called Kimono My House. I'm like, "What is it?" It's a virtual concert group. Well, I'm never gonna have no need for this. I'm too shy for this. I can't do this. And then you and her together and several others pushed me over the edge to do this, and it's been one of the best things I've ever done. So, Lars, I thank you for that.
Well, let me jump in on that one, if you don't mind, and I'll say this right back to you guys. Look at what you guys have, brought to the table as soon as you just realize that there's this thing that you can do on here. I mean, pandemic or no pandemic, and you guys have brought all your amazing, first of all, playing talents, songwriting talents that you guys possess, and broadcasting talents, and you name it. And it's a different world these days. You start your film. You start your camera, and you go for it. I think it's nice when people have their stuff lined up. They got their sort of ducks lined up, so it's not just a bunch of drivel. But when you come prepared, like you guys do, and I remember I was telling, I told Renee this. I said, it's tough online because you hear hundreds upon hundreds of people playing a piano, a flute, or a cat, or a dog, or a guitar. They play anything within reach, right? Every imaginable song is just coming at you. So. And it's so easy. And I think musicians today, I think pre-internet, the competition was in between the bands or the artists. Oh, well, if that band wrote that song, oh man, well, we got to step it up, guys. We got to, we'll step up our game. And now a lot of the competition is when you're scrolling down, and I'm guilty of it as anybody else. Now the competition is against a delicious looking Mexican dinner, a couple of burritos, or somebody's dog is flying through a window, and then dancing on a pogo stick. That's amazing. So people they get so much information. Now, while they're scrolling down to do this, all of a sudden comes a song that took you 3 months to write. It might have taken you 5 months to get to that video, and you paid a bunch of bread to make this video. And there's your song. And we're all going to know as we all know, that song is at least probably 3 minutes long, 3.5 minutes long. So you're competing now against that taco or against that burrito or against that beautiful.
Stop talking about food. I'm so hungry.
Right? So I think the key now more than ever, it is critical that you have something to say with your material. Make the song matter.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, pull everything out of your soul to make that song matter. If I was missing a bridge in this song, just me personally, I wouldn't waste your time with it. You know, if I'm going to play my songs to you, if you're going to take your time, or anybody that's watching now, or anybody that's listening to all these shows that we played, if I'm going to have somebody standing in their kitchen cooking dinner when they can watch a movie, they can put on a record, they can do anything they want to do. There are 10 other things they can want to do, but if they tune in and listen to me play, I'm going to have it. I'm going to have it as good for them as I can possibly have. Right? Just out of respect for that time, and sort of say, well, if you're taking your time, let me have my shit lined up. You know?
Yeah. It's so cool because Lars, when I think of you so much as a songwriter, and I think of you as someone who is a serious songwriter, someone who who takes that seriously, and who also takes your audience seriously. You actually care. One of the things that you always request when we have you on these shows is that you keep the fans, me and Jonathan or whoever is up here, you like to watch our response. And so that comports with what you're saying right now. You take your craft really seriously. You realize that people don't have infinite funds or time to be entertained. So if they're going to spend their time on you, you want to make sure it's worthwhile. And that's so that's so you. That's such like a Lars thing to say. You're such a serious man. You're such a respectful person. And that's why everybody just loves you. I mean, that's why you've been featured 3 times now this week. And I actually want more. I'm like, when is the 4th one? Give me a 4th one.
You know, right? I think it's a funny thing about a songwriter. Somebody, I can't remember if it was Phipps or who there was somebody asking me, or asking a friend of mine, can you make somebody a songwriter? And I'm not sure if you can make somebody a writer, make somebody a songwriter, but I know you can make somebody a better songwriter. In a sense that if you, I think I was always a writer. You know, I think I was a songwriter when I was 9 years old. Really? It's just that you kind of walk around and you have these stories in your head and you gather all these information as the years roll by, and all of a sudden you get into a band situation or your own thing or whatever it is, and you you push print on the computer, right? And all of a sudden this stuff just flows out of you and it's not new. I mean, it's new in the sense that you're writing it down, but then you find as you're writing all these songs and whatever it is, you find that, oh my goodness, that's from 1986, or that's from you know what I mean? So it's a real storage space where you, and essentially, I guess it's just kind of floating around in your brain or in the universe, right? And you just sort of pick it up, and when you're ready to receive, it seems that you get that stuff, you know?
Wow. That's so awesome. I love that.
Lars, you might have to correct me on this next band name, but we're going from the Ditch Diggers, and your next band, if I remember correctly, was called Motor 76.
You're right, Mr. Phipps. It was Motor 76, and then it was.
I was worried about that.
Yeah. It was. That was. In many ways, probably a better band than the Ditch Diggers. We were better. We knew what we were doing. I don't think it had the charm of the Ditch Diggers now, looking back. But, we toured a bit over in Europe a couple of times. We did some cool things. We put out, I don't know, I think we put out 4 CDs with that band. And we mostly were stationary. We just mostly worked out of Atlanta, and we did our thing. And it was to me personally, that band went on for too many years. But I think the first 4 years of that band, we did some. I hear it every now and then if it comes on again, some college radio station, or if on an iPod or something like that. We did pretty good. It wasn't as intense with all the other stuff that came with it as the Ditch Diggers did, but it was it's all right.
So how long did Motor 76 last?
Trying to get my timeline here. I think we finished up. We had. I don't know. I think 2000. I think we finished in 2009, and we had done 2 stints over in Ireland and in England, and we just knew collectively that this has run its course, and as that was coming to an end, the 2 CDs that I've been plugging here forever now, as I will again, American Honey and what's this one called? Happy to Be Here. As Heidi says, product placement.
Forgot the name of his own record. That's this show right here. That's quintessentially this show.
But those CDs had been cut during the Motor 76 era. I had done nothing with them. I just shelved these songs.
Wow.
And when I got out of Motor 76 and I joined the Atlanta hard rock band, the El Caminos, then again, I kind of ran out of time I never had the proper time to work on my own material. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So in between 76 and the El Caminos, I had 6 months, and I kind of was in the studio for me. But then unexpectedly, I joined the Caminos, and then that whirlwind started, and we had amazing Atlanta shows. We never traveled, but the band used to tour a lot in the 1990s. But with my era with them, we never toured at all. But we had just killer shows, and it was busy and fun. And when you're in a band, you're in a band. So you sort of, there's a little time to sort of, for me to sing some sort of introspective acoustic songs. But towards the end of the Caminos for me is when I recognized by 2015, you know what, man, I got these 2 CDs. They weren't released at the time.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking, you know what, let's put these 2 out. There's some people around me that like them. Let's sort of, own up to it and honor it, what I've written, release it. So then I started in 15, 16. Right about there, I started playing acoustic shows.
I want to get into that. I want to get into the solo acoustic stuff a little later on, but if you will, how long, or first of all, how did you join the El Caminos, and how long were you in that band?
I joined them in 1972, and I took.
And if you believe that, I've got a bridge in San Francisco to sell you out of Bart.
I think it was 1965. No, so I was just basically, I got a phone call. Was almost just a bit out of the blue. The singer JJ was in the studio with me, helping with my solo songs, playing some stuff, and he said, if you're interested, maybe. They were looking for an additional guitar player. And I said, that was very unexpected to hear. I didn't expect that them to call me, because they're the type of band in Atlanta. They're so connected. They're so, what am I using the right word? Synonymous with hard rock coming out of Atlanta. Is that the right word for it?
Yeah.
They're like the Atlanta stamp of rock and roll music, basically. So there's so many guitar slingers around Atlanta. Well, there are a number of just excellent ones that all of them could have, in my head, would have easily gotten that call instead of me, right? But anyways, at any rate, they just called me up and they said, hey, we got a show with Sylvain from the New York Dolls, Joan Jett's bass player, and Les Warner of the Cult, and Cheetah Chrome of the Dead Boys, and they're in a band called because the New York Dolls at the time were wait a minute, they were on a break. So and Sylvain and Cheetah Chrome of the New York Dolls have put together this band called Batusi's, and they said, Lars, you want to just come and play this show? We play it as a 5-piece, right? And I said, yes, I'd love to do it. And then it just so happened that before then they got a festival show in Atlanta, I don't know, a month before that. And they said, why don't you jump in on this one too? So, and I did. And it was one of those things that just worked out. I fit in, and the sound, I fit in with the personalities, and I fit in sonically. And next thing you know, man, we're playing with the Misfits that year.
Oh, wow.
Damn.
We're playing a bunch of cool, we're
amazing.
playing. Yeah, we're just playing with a bunch of cool bands that I've always looked up to. We played with CJ Ramone. We played with Richie Ramone.
Oh, my God.
We played with Agent Orange. Shit, you name him. I mean, Nashville Pussy. I mean, just a bunch of amazing bands that we played with. And now that stuff wasn't new to them because they'd spent a career playing with, a bunch of people. They were actually the backing band to Sylvain before he put the New York Dolls back with David Johansen. The Caminos backed up Sylvain for about a couple of years.
Oh my gosh!
So there's a lot of history there, and it was just it's just one of those things that when you join something like that, it either works or it doesn't. And if everybody's been in the game for a long enough time, you just know it's working, or you know that it's not working, right?
Yeah.
Exactly.
And it just happened to be one of those things that worked out. And then, so I did 3 records with that band. And in all fairness, one of them was a greatest hits record. But the first one we did was in 2012. And the second one was the greatest hits. And the third one was an EP we put out. So, and then and then I bowed out in 2000. You're like James Lipton, man. If I tell you 18, you may correct me. I think it was. I think it was 2018. It was definitely not 19. I was out of there by 17 or 18, and at which point I was just recovering from the hell of losing my dad. And we got my mom had to move over here, and we sold the house back home in Stockholm, and I didn't have time for the band life to begin with. And so it was very convenient to do the acoustic. That's when I really started the acoustic solo stuff in high gear, thinking this is actually something that I can do, because I strangely, and I'll let you throw in another question. I keep rambling here, but
okay.
but the funniest thing was that when out of 25 years in bands and just really working our asses off in whichever gig we were at, once I sat down acoustically and did this, I have never been more home in my life in music.
Wow.
Because you think it'd be the other way around, because I got a lot of friends that are, in loud bands, right?
Yeah.
Very, very, very good bands, very established type musicians. And a number of them will say to me, Lars, man, I need my Marshall stack, and I need the loud drums, and I need that.
The band of brothers, like being on stage.
You know what I mean. They're like, I don't want to just sit there by myself where everyone hears every clink on your string, right? like with nothing. But for me, strangely, had complete reverse effect. It put me at ease more than anything else. And there's 2 things to this, Renee. Maybe it's just, the bad part of it is maybe I'm just a big egotistical son of a bitch that needs to have complete control and needs to do everything my way, and feel like, if you want to come play with me, that's great. If you don't, guess what? Next. Right?
No, you're not Lindsey Buckingham in that regard.
I mean, but there's a real freedom in doing it, and just by yourself acoustically, and because, again, you spend 25 years in bands where you're 1 out of 5, and I mean this in the best of ways, because this is everybody's story, unless it's just they have one leader, right? But if you have an idea, you got to sell it to somebody else, and that person sells it to that person. Everyone you got to get through the board if you want to do this, or you. It's like a marriage, to where you pick your battles. If that guy doesn't want to play shows on the road, and I do, I'm not going to argue with him about the T-shirts. I'll let him have whatever design he wants on the damn t-shirts. But 3 months later, guess what? I'm going to bring up some out of town shows, or you know what I mean? It's like everybody plays each other in the band, and it's just kind of this kind of political, fun thing that everybody. It's a completely fair game. Everybody is aware of it. But when you're working on your own, you have a whole different type of freedom. Now the flip side to having this type of freedom is that the arguments you're having will be between you and your ego, and you know who's going to win that battle.
Yeah, we always know.
We know who's going to win that battle.
If you're a performer, the ego always wins.
Yeah. So you do have to be very careful, and when you're recording it, I mean, for me personally, because I have a hard time stepping outside of what it is that I'm doing. So basically, it's a different experience, but I've enjoyed it immensely and continue to enjoy it on a level I never have musically in my life before, ever.
That's great to hear, man. So if I'm not mistaken,
and you're not,
he's never mistaken.
You have a new solo record, your third, coming up before too long. Tell us a little bit about that.
I sound like a broken record. First of all, you're right, of course. And I do sound like a broken record because I thought the pandemic was going to be over by June last year, so we're going to go back into the studio. So we were we have 10 new, or I don't know, 10 new songs or something. I've been playing most of them online here over the past year.
Yeah. That
we were on a really good path with up until March 14th.
Yeah.
Of last year, but we tracked them maybe about 60-70% of the way. We got all the basic tracks, and we're going to adding some percussion and some one of the Tom and I laugh about this is we call it the beatbox, but not the djembe. What is it? The Cajun, I think it's called. Where basically a full drum kit in a box, right?
Yeah.
So we're adding hand claps and backup vocals, and I've got somebody singing on the record that you guys know and love, Diane Marie.
Yes.
I love her.
Yeah. She's on two songs. She's on two songs, maybe amazing. 3, but she's definitely on 2.
Wow.
So if the world keeps recovering, guys, and we start working again, my goal is to I'm not even going to set a time or a month because I'll be eating my own words. But later this year, as soon as we can start working on it, I want to get this thing out. But I also want it out now that I'm starting to play out. So I have, it's just fun to kind of just to maybe strictly have done it online, a new CD. It's a little, I like best of both worlds. I want to play in front of, physical people in front of me too. And then it'd be nice to have it released sort of, have it coincide with now starting to play out more,
Mm-hmm. Would you be so kind as to play a couple of cuts off that new record?
That's it. I'm leaving.
Here we go again.
We just keep pissing off the Nagel.
Renee, it's not Renee. Lars, you're going to give me and Renee a heart attack before this is over with. You're killing us, Smalls. You're killing us.
I'm joking. I'm worse than Dave Crosby, man.
Oh, by the way, someone in the comments when we were talking about Helplessly Hoping earlier was so kind to point out that it was not David Crosby that wrote Helplessly Hoping. It was Stephen Stills.
Oh, wonderful. Okay. Yeah.
We have a crowd of historians here.
Yeah, everybody knows their stuff. Everyone at KMH knows their music.
Do.
And Jonathan is like the top of that. Jonathan has a memory that I would never go up against in my life.
Well, that's the best part about doing interviews online, because if you're not sure what you're saying, you just scroll back and look at the comments later and you go, oh, it was 1975, not 81. Oh.
Yeah, exactly. They know. The fans are smart.
Yeah.
We want to correct each other. Should we do a number? Is that what you wanted?
Yes. If you want to do it, could you play Sesame Street? Or no, Sesame Street's an old song. You know your song. You know the songs that's going to be on the record better than I do.
Gotta move.
Gotta move. That's a good one. Thank you, Renee, for bailing me out.
If you, I got. Renee, I've got to move, and I got take it or leave it lined up. If I can do, if you want, if we have time to do both, I can start.
Oh, we've got time to do both. We can go a few minutes over.
You cool with it?
Yeah.
Okay. Living in a dream, feeling all. Hang on for a second. Let me check that. Take two.
Do we want to bring the judge up to dance to the song?
That's why I intentionally effed up on that thing. Yeah, bring him in.
Okay.
Do you think that, I don't? Well, let's see if he wants to. Let me see if he's willing. Oh, he does. Wait, you're on mute. You're on mute. You're on mute.
Judge is muted.
Unmute.
You want me to dance for you?
If it's okay, Your Honor, I don't know if it's allowed. I don't know if this is allowed, but I just missed you, and I wanted to.
I do enjoy listening to Lars Nagel's songs.
Yeah, you're a fan of the Nagel.
As most people do.
Yes, everybody does. So, are you okay with staying on the screen while he serenades you?
I'm fine with it.
All right, I'll allow it. I'll allow.
I want as many people on that screen in front of me as possible. If you want to put fake people in the middle, that's cool too.
Well, we've got 4 Dennises.
He doesn't like close camera shots. I'm not sure why.
And I do want to say too that the show the other night, of course, with Mr. Rory Penland, it's casual.
Excellent show host.
I had such a good time. I had such a good time, and your comedian buddy Philip. What's his last name, man? What's the cat's last name?
Wilburn, I believe, was the guest the other night.
Philip Wilburn. Yeah, I mean, yes. There's a pro, right? Okay, kids, take it or leave it. Living in a dream, feeling cold and mean, just another washout. Life can be obscene. Don't matter who you are, don't matter what you do, life is gonna show up. Here's looking at you. And I'm tired of all the running, nothing's gonna slow me down. Years and years of trying, I just gotta make it through this time now. Sunny summer day is coming my way, singing my songs now. It's gonna be okay, laughing like a clown, always falling down. You take it or you leave it, let's go dancing on the town. And I'm tired of all the running, nothing's gonna slow me down. Years and years of trying, I just gotta make it through this time now. Can't you see me smiling? Don't you know the rules? It's been a long, long winter and a highway full of fools. We all got a share of grief, I've got no one left to please. Don't push your luck this time, there are no guarantees. What would you say? What would you do? If I said I want you, you know what to do. Undecided dreams is pulling at the seams. You never needed no one, living on those in-betweens. You say, babe, you move so fearless. I say, honey, I'm scared to death. But I've never let that stop me. Half of life is showing up through the test. Can't you see me crying? Don't you know the rules? It's been a long, long summer and the highway is full of fools. We all got a share of grief, I've got no one left to please. Don't push your luck this time, there are no guarantees. Now babe, I'm out of cool lines and you're looking so lost and alone. You can take it or leave it, I just wanna get you home. Get you home. get you home. Oh, honey, watch that man. Watch that man. Baby, watch that man.
Dang, man.
Yeah.
That was amazing.
Amazing.
Lars,
I love
Very
that
nicely
song.
done.
Lars,
Thank
we
you,
have
guys.
time for one more, and then the judge will give his review, and then we will take a bow and fade away into the night. So you mentioned gotta move, and if you want to do that one, let's close out
That's
with
one of
this.
my favorites.
You
Yes.
absolutely, yeah, absolutely. I will. I'm learning over these months not to yell into the mic that I started at first.
Look
I'm like,
who!
why
Look,
am
we
I
have a special
here?
fan here to see you.
Luce Kayak is here.
Are you gonna play the harmonica? We'll mute you, but you can see you playing the harmonica.
Good
Bobby
job,
Ross,
Ross.
man, are you gonna be laying down the harmonica for us?
Okay, but
How you doing, brother?
I am having a great time. This has been an awesome show, but I have to give the judge the chance to give the ultimate judgment here. But myself, I thought it was freaking great.
You know, the judge is serious business, and I want to, before I forget, so I won't have to feel awful. And thank you in the comments. Thank you guys so much for having me on the show. For having me
Thank
on.
you for agreeing to come on, Haas.
Wonderful.
When we first were coming up with the idea for this show, you were one of the first ones that just shot to the top of the list. Like, we have to have Lars on the show. And truth be told, we could do 7 or 8 episodes with you, man. You've got that many just great songs.
Hey, let's hear one.
Let's hear
man,
one.
listen,
I think we can say that of many of the guests.
I was hiding under our bed, shivering and biting my toenails, thinking, God, is they going to invite me to play that show? I refused to come out for days. I held up for 13 days, ass hiding.
That's
13 days, 4 hours, 20 minutes.
That's what we did, Lars.
I didn't even eat Lay's chips, man. I didn't even touch. I ate some rice and shit, but 13 days, 12 hours, and 4 minutes.
Me too. We're emaciated now. It was a cleansing diet. We were on a cleanse.
But here's the thing. But here's the thing. During that time of whatever you want to call that, I wrote this song. It's going to be on the new record. Renee requested it earlier. I think Phipps requested it as well. I will play it for you all. I will play it for Atlanta. I will play it for Athens, Georgia, Alabama, Birmingham, and the world. And Worcester, Massachusetts, and Danny Gay.
We got to have him on the show, too.
All right, brothers and sisters, here we go. Come on, Bobby. Kids shooting up schools, shooting up dope. The world keeps turning, but we're running out of hope. The human spirit's strong, something feels wrong. A feeling you win is sure to kick along. We gotta move out of here. There's too much lies and fear. Oh, you know it is, baby. They say that time is money and money is time, but they say a lot of things and no one seems to mind. Mind their own business, mind their own lives. Don't you forget, everybody dies. Move, brothers, out of here. There's too much lies and fear. We've lost touch with what's real. How to love and how to feel. All right, Bobby, break down. Morning on the news, giving me the blues. Just a bunch of people screaming out their little views. Man makes a call, putting up a wall. Someone said a long time back, a harding's gonna fall. Move, mothers, out of here. There's too much lies and fear. We've lost touch, yes we have, with what's real. How to love and how to feel. Here we go. False hope to those with nothing to eat. Burn their money right out in the street. Promise students with no shoes on their feet. Prey on the weak with every word that you speak. They got nothing. We come in the night. They got nothing. Don't have any rights. They got nothing. Shoot them on sight. They ain't got shit. Goodbye and good night. Good night. Oh my God, no. Don't wanna go now. Don't make me go now. Don't make me go now. No, 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 no. Come on, Bobby.
All right.
Beautiful stuff. Beautiful
Wow.
stuff. And that might be the first time a harmonica has ever smoked after it's been played, because I saw Bob Ross going to town on that thing, man.
He was
Bobby's
tearing
bringing it.
up.
He's bringing it.
It's warped now. It's just totally.
There you go.
Well,
The
I'm glad
harmonica's
you
melting.
do it. I wish you could have heard it. Man, I smoke you, Lars, man. You really bring the best harp out of me, man. I can't
Oh,
wait.
Bobby, man, thank you, man. Back at you, man. It's so wonderful to have met all these folks on here, and it's just it's such an ongoing process, and we're learning. I mean, Tom and I are just amazed, you know. And speaking of, you guys told me that I got Phipps and Renee, that I got you guys on here. Well, Tom Chesh is the one who got me on Kimono My House.
Uh-huh.
And a common friend of ours, Lee Smith, but it was Tom that texted me and said, "Hey man, you should be doing this thing." And I was just like you guys. I'm like, wait a minute. The first show I saw that Tom did was for a benefit for a club in Atlanta called the Earl. Now Tom is out in the woods, right? In the backwoods. Who knows where he is? And and he's doing his thing.
He's on the west side.
He's doing his thing, and I'm thinking, what is it? I'm just trying to get my head wrapped around it. He's out in the woods and he's performing, and there's this thing called Kimono My House, and but I found out, and it's been I think it's been, for a lot of us, it's if not a lifesaver, it's saved our sanity, right? I mean,
Yeah.
it's been incredible.
Late here, but you tried.
Pardon me?
A little late for saving my sanity, but thank you all for joining.
I feel better now, Ross, because mine went out the door there a while ago too. Just packed its own bag too, man. Brought its suitcase.
Hell, you can't lose what you never had, in my opinion. So.
I keep saying that.
All right. I believe the judge is about to speak.
You all ready for notes then?
Yes.
Another set of
Ears are
lengthy
open.
notes.
We have to swear in.
Late again.
Yes, that's a
And
great
Lars
question.
is looking at his camera like an alien looking at an Elon Musk Mars rover. Nicely done. Phipps, say it with me. One hit wonderful.
One hit wonderful.
That's the name of the show, Phipps.
Yes.
Ladies and germs, are you truly trying to alienate your entire audience with old Eddie Youngman material?
I stuck in there.
I've heard you say it many times, and I cringe each time. The Dennis Tardan crush story is a classic example of how a small joke can be blown way out of proportion. Mr. Tardan is a happily married man, I believe.
I have a crush on him too.
Mr. Nagel, who is your
Love
number one
triangle.
crush? Mr. Phipps, your background doesn't suggest that you have a briefcase with $1 million in it. And you don't want that kind of gold digger in your life anyway. Girls do like young men with self-confidence. Take note.
Self-confidence. There you go.
I have a note here that says, let's not go Howard Stern. Let's do our own thing. I'm not sure what it is. Phipps, with an echoing voice like yours tonight, you should attract girls from the next mountain over.
Oh, man.
Ooh, oh boy.
At the 9-minute mark, I'm amazed at Mr. Nagel's patience and overwhelming calm with this zombie apocalypse of a show.
Zombie apocalypse.
Oh.
For the record, Miss Yaworsky, mentioning that I am taking notes is no real surprise to the audience. I am always feverishly writing notes for this show. If a person can get writer's cramp for a 55-minute show, it's probably because they're writing about one hit wonderful. Jonathan, say it with me. One hit wonderful.
Yeah, wonderful. Okay.
Mr. Lars Nagel, another fine rendition of one of your beautiful songs. Excellently done.
Thank you, Judge. Thank you.
Mr. Phipps, extra points for your connection with your guest on one of his favorite songs, the Hopelessly Hoping Note. Hopelessly Hoping. That's my note.
Helplessly.
I actually wrote the word note.
I'm hopelessly hoping.
I'll be looking for the song Hopelessly Hoping Note soon. I just gave myself a note. I want to compliment Miss Yaworsky on the new pixie look with her hair. Phipps,
Cute.
I thought I was
Thank
going to
you.
write a note
Thank
about
you.
asking Mr. Nagel about where have you lived?
Yaworsky.
It was fascinating to find out that he had lived in Italy and Spain, so I'm erasing that note.
You had
But
no
you did not
sorry.
ask how many languages he spoke. That would really good follow. Mr. Nagel, how many languages do you speak?
Oh, it's only 2, man. I used to speak German, but now it's just Swedish and English.
Ah,
I'm sorry, I'm letting you down,
approve
Judge.
once
I'm sorry,
again,
letting
Mr.
you down.
Nagel, that the mention of the word Utah usually brings a good laugh. I have a note here, but it's just this. Rodney Mills, Freebird.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I am noticing that Jonathan is relaxing more and enjoying his interviewing more. It is better to have your notes ready, isn't it, Mr. Phipps?
Yes. This time I actually do.
Phipps killed it.
I
Killed
also
it.
added to this
Yep.
So
better
good.
lighting. The playing of cats is strictly on social distance fest material. That's distance fest material. To my knowledge, there have not been any cats played on Kimono My House to this point. I'm there, enchilada.
The boy takes notes.
Mr. Phipps and Miss Yaworsky, I hope you are taking notes of what Mr. Nagel is teaching you.
We are.
Very
Don't
much
listen
so.
to me, listen to him. Be prepared for your show, and people will watch, even when they're making dinner. People
I
will
thought you
take
were
you
gonna
into
say
the
making
bathroom.
love.
I know that doesn't sound pleasant, but you want that.
Okay, wait. Charlie Thompson.
Yeah,
says-
Charlie has been up in the air for a good while now. Going back to your first band, he is just dying to know, why was the band called the Ditch Diggers?
Well, Charlie Thompson, here's the answer for you. We worshipped a band out of San Diego called I don't need to talk in the mic. I'm just going to talk over here. We loved a band out of San Diego called Rocket from the Crypt, and in their first release, circa now, there's I think it was their first release. On that record, there's a song called Ditch Digger. It's a great tune. So the singer said, "Why don't we call ourselves the Ditch Diggers?" And it had a good ring to it. And we eventually, when we got serious, then we had it name searched, and because you copyright wrote that stuff back in those days. Maybe you still do, I guess. But so we found that it wasn't taken, and so we took it, and that's where it came from.
Aha. So the burning question in the pit of Charlie Thompson's soul has finally been answered.
There you go, Charlie. You got your answer.
I have a
We talked
follow-up.
about that on It's Casual too. You might want to go back and watch that show too.
Yeah.
The Lars
Excellent show.
band.
And on that bombshell, that has been this episode of One Hit Wonderful.
Wait, Bob.
Me-
Wait, Bob wanted to say something.
Oh,
wait,
no.
Yes, Bob.
It's no.
Oh, Bob, go ahead if you have something to say. Go say it.
Oh no, whatever. I've already forgot it. You know me.
Okay, you got
I have
that
a couple more
selective
notes.
memory going. And on that bombshell, thank y'all for coming out to this One Hit Wonderful. It has been just a thrill to do
Lars.
this tonight. Renee, thank you for pitching this idea to me and helping get it off the ground. Thank you to Lars for coming on this show tonight and pouring his heart out and walking us through the years. And to Bob and the judge, thank y'all for coming on board.
Is that a white
Judge,
T-shirt?
thank you. Judge, thank you
Yes.
for thank you for your analysis and your judgment there. And Bob, thank
Thank
you
you for cutting off my notes.
just thank you for Bob, thank you for being here and rooting us on. And to all of y'all watching, thank you. Because without y'all, none of this would be possible. We love y'all. We cherish y'all. And fingers, toes, and eyes crossed, we'll get to meet some of y'all in the not too distant future.
Oh yes.
So, y'all, good night. Take care. God bless and all the best. Renee, Rory, and I love y'all. And we have someone else coming in. Who is this? CJ Peters. Are you kidding? He is here.
Hey, man.
CJ, you've
What
been
is
a
going
hell of a
on?
Was that
time
an
on the
SOS?
show.
What is going on? We're getting to it's
Forgive us.
Talk about sanity.
CJ,
I'm doing
CJ's
some
taking
guitar art.
over the stream. Oh my god.
What's going on, guys? How you doing?
Yeah.
Hey,
DJ.
sir.
We got love for you,
Good to
man.
see
How you
you
doing?
again, man. Oh, and
I'm
by
doing
the
good.
way, CJ coming in was perfectly timed because on next week's episode of
Uh-oh.
One Hit Wonderful, CJ Peters will be our guest on this show.
Looking forward
It's
to
going to
it.
be
The judge is
and
ready.
CJ is a lot like Lars in that you can't do just one episode on him. You could do a damn 13-part series on the enigma that is CJ Peters.
Yeah.
And
So
we've had
sweet, man. You're such a wonderful dude. How you been, man? I miss you, bro.
I've been all right, man, and we've missed you as well.
I want to
It's
give
good
a
to see
shout
you.
out. Everyone's been saying how great of a job Jonathan did. Jonathan will be flying solo at some point. He's amazing. He's way ready. He's so past ready. This is
I agree. I agree.
This is his show. This is his stuff. I mean, he is so good. I mean, I just sat back. I was texting Dennis the whole time. I was like, this is amazing. Like, Jonathan, you are a profoundly gifted host, producer, director, musician, artist, poet, friend. I mean, everybody's just so proud. If you look at the comments, I mean, everyone is just saying you did such a great job tonight, as always.
I agree.
Yeah,
Jonathan,
amazing.
100%, Jonathan. Truth.
He backs
Thank
it
you,
up
sir.
with talent.
You're a
Thank you,
very
Renee.
knowledgeable host, sir.
Thank you.
Judge.
He's a
Very
cool
good.
dude, nice
Thank you.
person, man. You know, when he's
Yeah,
talented
man.
as up, man. I mean, what you gonna do? You know what I'm saying?
I
He's a good
owe
guitar too.
I owe all of y'all a truckload of hugs when I see you. I mean that, man. I love all of y'all. Y'all make me feel so incredible. And
You
man,
are
I'm gonna
incredible.
be gushing another hour if this keeps up.
Well,
we
okay,
we
we'll
are
end the show.
we
We'll
are
end the
oh we
show.
are way over time as it
Way
is.
over
So,
time.
ladies and germs, again, thank y'all for coming out tonight. To Renee for pitching this show and believing in me and giving me a chance on this show. Lars, thank you for coming on. Judge, thank you for your fair and balanced judgment. And to CJ and Bob Ross, thank you for being so damn supportive. If it wasn't for you two and the whole KMH crew, none of this would be possible. And I have so much love and so much admiration for y'all. And by God, we'll see y'all next time. So Take care. God bless. All the best. Good night.
Peace and love.